Hey, good morning, guys. It is September 12th. Chambers is in Matthew 20, verse 22 in particular. You know not what you ask. And the story is comical but enlightening at the same time. It's it's funny. If you back up a few verses, Jesus has just told them, um, and this is not the first time. We're going to Jerusalem. The Son of Man will be delivered to the chief priests and the teachers of the law. They will condemn him to death, will turn him over to the Gentiles to be mocked and flogged and crucified. On the third day, he will be raised to life. Pretty straightforward that Jesus tells him that. And then the next part of this story is really strange. Like he says that and again they probably just say, oh, I don't know, Jesus is speaking in metaphors, parables, whatever. Again, we can't understand. But he was really clear. I guess it just was so far outside of their realm of what they thought was going to happen that they could not bring themselves. And this is what Chambers is going to talk about. He's going to talk about confusing, but not confusing. Our confusion doesn't mean that God's confused. Our confusion doesn't mean that he is not still working out a plan. But anyway, then immediately after Jesus says that, James and John's mother comes to him and says, "Hey, can my sons, can they sit to your right and left in places of honor in your kingdom?" And he says, "You don't know what you're asking," and that's the confusion part that Chambers deals with today. But he says, "Can you drink the cup I'm going to drink?" He says to the James and John, and and they say, "We can," and Jesus says, "Yeah, you will." Um, you will drink the same cup. So he's predicting their death, um, but as martyrs, sorry, in the future. So anyway, Chambers takes this, runs with it, and talks about confusion. When we're confused, the things we don't understand, make sure we always keep in mind the things that can be um, not just understood, but can be banked on. You can bank on this, if that phrase makes any sense to some of you guys. But the um, the thing that Chambers says is sometimes um, it looks as if uh, God is a friend who doesn't care. He doesn't have the concern and compassion and care and consideration that we want him to have. And Chambers says, "You will think he's an unkind friend, but remember he is not." And that's the one thing that people say to me, well, that doesn't seem like a good God couldn't. And I said, I tell people, I've told people in the past, be careful when you say a good God couldn't, because you're making yourself the judge. You are making yourself the judge of what is good. And if a good God couldn't, then you're saying he's not good. And that's a really, really dangerous place to be. A good God wouldn't do this. A good God couldn't do this. You're defining good. He defines good. You don't, and you're putting yourself in a place of judgment of God's actions, and that's a really, really dangerous place to be. So remember, when things seem to be unkind, when he seems to be an unkind friend, he's not, is what Chambers saying. Remember, he's not unkind. And then he talks about sometimes your father will appear as if he were an unnatural father, as if he were callous and indifferent, making you endure the things you endure. I remember, okay, so I'll tell a story real quick. We tell it a lot of times when we're talking about why we make our kids do hard things. We wanted to make sure they knew how to swim. We signed them up for swim team because someone said that's the way to do it. Sign them up for swim team. The very first swim meet we went to. If you know anything about swim meets, they're a little intense. We've never been to anything like this, and they could barely swim. Benjamin Levi. Benjamin is walking up to the stands, and I have to walk with him, and they're asking us, please don't make us do this. Please don't make us do this. Benjamin is literally crying on the blocks, getting into the pool, and it's breaking my heart. But someone could look at that and say, "Oh my goodness, what a callous father." And the truth was, the whole time it was absolutely breaking my heart. But I knew it was a good thing for him, and he grew to love swimming, love the competition, love it. and it was good for him. Anyway, all that said, you could look at someone doing that to their child and think, oh, how calloused, how indifferent, how. And Chambers says, he is not an unkind father. Be careful that you don't misinterpret what he's doing in the life of a believer as unkindness or callousness or unconcern, because it's the exact opposite. So the last thing he ends with here is, he has bigger issues at stake than the particular things you ask. When you ask for a candy bar, he's got much, much higher motivations for what he puts you through, what he does with you, the things that the ordeals that you go through. His ways are higher, his thoughts are higher, as the heavens are above the earth. So anyway, let that be an encouragement to you today. You guys have an awesome day.